Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be doing the multi-time frame analysis for Bank Nifty and Nifty. And also thank you so much that you've shown us support in the last two videos and you have shown more likes. So it's a similar request. If you find this video useful, please consider clicking the like button, because if you do so, this shows our video to a wider audience. Now let's begin the multi-time frame analysis for Bank Nifty and then we'll follow it up with Nifty. Firstly, what we'll do, we'll analyze the monthly, then weekly, then daily, and then finally 15-minute time frame. Then we'll do the same for Nifty, and then we'll try to see if we can find good trades there or no. Okay, so let's start with the Bank Nifty monthly time frame. So first thing what I've done, I have drawn a line here on the July high. Why? Because after that we got a breakout. Okay, in this breakout, when we got it, I told you in all my previous videos, whenever you get a breakout, what do? You draw a line below it. Now on the monthly time frame, I am waiting for a closing below the low of 44,531. Additionally, some of you all commented that you want me to write the levels and mark the levels like how Nikki does it. So I've also ordered a pen tablet which I'll be using to write more clearly, because I find it very difficult to do so with a mouse. So finally, I wrote all of this down, and basically on the monthly time frame, we need a closing below the low of the last month. So we still have 4 more days for the month to end. So let's see if we get it or not. Okay, that was it for the monthly time frame, because if it closes below the low of the last month, things can get pretty ugly. Now, second, for Bank Nifty, on the weekly time frame, in my past videos, we told you we need a closing below the low of the breakout candle, which is the 4th December candle. Usually what happens when you get a closing below the low of the breakout candle, it's very difficult to take out the all-time high quickly. That's what usually happens. But please note that, we have a budget coming up in the next week. So historically, there's a huge movement on the budget. Check last year's budget, for example. It made such a big candle. Okay, so we got a closing below the low of the weekly candle we wanted. Second part was there was a gap here. Do you see the gap? Now this candle, last week's candle, has filled the gap. I told you on the daily chart we were expecting some support near 44,500. Now it was respected on the weekly front as well. Now the last thing to note on the weekly time frame is the last two candles. If I plot them from high to low, market has basically covered 8% move in 2 weeks. Ideally, in an ideal world, what should happen is that it should either, if it wants to go down, it should consolidate like this and then break down, or or what can it do? It can bounce in a big range, okay, and then break that range wherever, and we'll be positioning our trades accordingly. Now, since the budget is coming up in the next week, it is a big trigger point, right? So what market can do, it can be in a range for the next 3 days, because I think the budget is on Thursday, if I'm not wrong. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what it can do, it can form a range, and that would be the best thing for us, because we'll just be trading the range breakout then. And if the market does that on the budget, if we get a good move either side, we'll be playing accordingly. So let's see if the next 2 or 3 days are more of inside candles in the last week's high low. So now let's talk about the daily chart. Okay, on the daily chart, I told you we have some kind of selling here and we have a gap here. This is a support. So market is trading in a huge range. Okay, we have done approximately a 2800 point movement in 8 days. So this range absolutely can't be traded. Where will you keep a stop loss? So we need smaller ranges always. Whenever you find a big range, you can't be trading that range. So we need a smaller time frame like support and resistance to initiate new trades. Now after a directional move, okay, now we got a directional move on the downside. Market, tends to become volatile. First, what happens? You get direction, then it's followed by volatility, then you go in a range, and then again you get a direction from that range. Breakouts. So let's see if market turns volatile now, and then probably it forms a range. Also, on the daily chart, we have come down from 48,000 levels directly, without a pause much. So we can't rule out the possibility, that it can be going up and consolidating for a few days. So now let's come on the 15-minute time frame. I told you in my last video that we have got some selling here and we've got some buying here. So the expiry probability, if you open flat, I don't see too much downside. And it went down, it just tested the low and then it came up back again. Right? So these kind of small observations, if you see charts repeatedly, even you can start having. On the 15-minute time frame, I see this swing and I see this swing below. So on the top side, we have 45,500 level, and on the bottom side, we have 44,400 level. So what are we looking for? We are, looking for a break of this range, this small 2-day range. Wherever it breaks out, we'll be positioning the trades accordingly. There are also like some rumors, HDFC Bank can probably gap up 5%. I saw that on my Twitter timeline today. So it is possible, that we give a big gap up opening and then it's going to be interesting to trade it. For me, I can't identify whether a seller or a buyer is present in the last day, right? And we are getting a gap up. So if I was confident of a buyer being in it or a seller being in it, I could have told you what I would do on a gap up, gap down, or a flat opening. But usually in this range, no one's like winning a lot. Okay, so there's some selling here and there's some buying here. So whenever there's no such big clarity, what I usually tend to do, I just mark the first 15-minute range and I trade that range breakout. Okay, this has some decent probability, So ideally, because on the weekly front we have moved down so much, we would like to take a sell on rise approach, and if we get some resistance here and if we start to see some sort of a reversal, then we'll be initiating some trades, because for us the market is sell on rise currently. Just a reminder, it's like the smartest thing to do right now is not to take like huge bets because of the budget. So if you're new to the market, please try to stay it out. The last 2 weeks especially, I saw a lot of people have their biggest losses ever, and me too. In fact, we went through a big loss, but then we covered it. So it's best to not take some silly trades. As you can capture the profits even after the budget. So to summarize the 15-minute time frame, we are looking to sell on rise, okay, and we see some resistances. I've marked them on the 15-minute time frame. So let's see how big of a gap up there is and how market reacts to that. And also do take very small bets in this week. Whatever your ideal bet size is, for example, if you tend to risk 1% of a capital on each trade, try to reduce that drastically for this particular week. Now let's move on to Nifty. Like how Banknifty, we are fearful of a closing below the last month's like low, because things can start to get ugly in Banknifty. In Nifty, there is no such situation present there. So the December month candle was a green Marubozu candle, okay, and the current month is like a small candle compared to that. So whenever this happens, the current month's high, if it gets taken out, we can get a good move on the upside. And on the downside in Nifty, we are waiting for a closing below 20,200 levels, which is very far. So it's useless to talk about it currently. Not much to gauge from the monthly time frame. Now in Nifty, let's open the weekly. If you recall, in our videos, we always tell you how is a top formed. There's usually a red candle, okay, and below the low of the red candle, you need another candle, red candle, which closes below the low of the previous candle. Now on the weekly front, I drew a line on the low of the last week, okay. Now we have not got a closing below it. So still, like, how in Bank Nifty we called it a top, in Nifty we can't do that yet, because we still need a closing below the low of the last week, which we haven't gotten. So we'll wait patiently for that. So on the daily front as well, in Nifty, market can be stuck in these two candles range for at least 2 to 3 days before the budget, okay. And then on budget, we'll be making a video just before that session, explaining what our views are and what trades we will be looking for tomorrow based on the reaction of the market. So in Nifty, we are waiting for some more consolidation and followed by a big trigger being the budget. Now on the 15-minute front, okay, I can see this support zone. This is being tested 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So if you plan on selling in Nifty, you should do it below the level of 21,200 level. And on the upside, market try to take some resistance here. So trade the break of this range only if you're trading in Nifty. Inside the range, usually it's better to skip trades there, because you can get trapped either sides. Also, HDFC Bank, I think, is a big component in Nifty as well. And if the rumors are true that there could be a huge gap on Monday on the upside, then we'll see how Nifty reacts at these levels. Because every time market went there, it was coming down. So let's see where the market opens and how market reacts after the opening. If I'm unclear about any trades of mine, again I repeat, what I do, I just mark the first 15-minute or the 30-minute range, and wherever the market breaks either side, I just position my trades accordingly. And I said this in Bank Nifty as well, I'll just repeat it in Nifty, क्योंकि अगले हफ्ते बजट है, उस हफ्ते में ज्यादा रिस्क लेना मतलब सेंस नहीं बनाएगा, क्योंकि अगर हम हारते हैं तो उसको रिकवर करने में टाइम जाता है. जैसे पिछला वीक जो था बहुत ही अच्छा था, बहुत ही ज्यादा अच्छा था मेरे और निकिता के लिए, लेकिन वो पूरा एफर्ट वेस्ट हो गया क्योंकि हमने उसके पिछले वीक में गैप डाउन में एक बड़ा लॉस किया था. सो सेम वे, डोंट रिपीट द मिस्टेक्स वी आर मेकिंग. सो इन निफ्टी ऑल्सो लेट्स सी हाउ बिग ऑफ अ गैप अप ओपन वी गेट, and depending on how big the gap is, we can position our trades accordingly. If it's a very big gap up opening, okay, usually market gap ups, they don't sustain. So whenever the first 15-minute low breaks on a big gap up, you can take sell positions accordingly. Anyways, our view in Bank Nifty is a sell on rise view. So that was it for this video. Not much to add because there's a big event in the next week, and also there's a possibility of a big gap up opening on Monday as well. Just one final reminder before I go, take lower risk in this week because of the budget. Thank you so much for watching our videos, and if they are helpful in any way, please smash the like button. I'll see you very soon on Sunday in an educational video.